first, congrats to Coach Grant and Coach Mack, and both our women's and men's basketball teams starting off the season. Wish them good luck. I heard it was pretty good environment last night. Doesn't surprise me with our students, but congrats to them and best of luck going forward. Really good start to the week. Guys are really locked in. The attitude, the energy. They had fun out here today, which is really good to see. They're working. And I'm excited to see what we can do the rest of the week going forward. NC State's a really good team. Obviously, they're ranked 17th in the country. I have a ton of respect for Coach Doran. I've known him for a really long time. I think he's in his 10th year now. He has a really good culture. Those guys play hard. He's recruited really well to his systems. He's got a veteran team. You know, a lot of guys that have been there for a while, played 5-6 years. Obviously, the quarterback went down, who I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But they got a freshman who they've really kind of seemed like they've went to rather than platooning, who looks like he'll be a really good player. Their O-line is really good, really talented. You know, they're all back, minus a tackle. That was a first-round pick last year. I think both backs are good players. I think the slot is a really talented guy. I think he's a 5th or 6th year guy that knows football, tough, competitive, makes catches, blocks. They got 2 big guys on the outside that kind of play right and left, and a really athletic tight end. On defense, I don't think Tony Gibson gets enough credit. He presents a lot of challenges with his scheme. He runs a 3-3 stack, multiple in coverage, blitzes. I think he's one of the better defensive coordinators that I've watched on tape, and he probably should get more credit than he's given. He's been doing it for a long time. Again, well-coached team, experienced players, obviously playing at a high level, being ranked 17th in the country. So we're looking forward to the challenge. Our guys are going to work hard. Like I said, their attitudes are great, and we're going to go. We're going to compete our butts off, and I know that. And I'm excited about it.
Oh, right out of the gate, did Phil
quarterback
practice today?
No, Phil did not practice today. So Emmett obviously took all the reps with Matt being the backup. Will we get him back? I'm not sure, but that's where we're at with Phil right now.
And how did Emmett look? You said it was a good day, so he must have had a good day.
Yeah, Emmett had a really good day. What I'm most impressed about Emmett is, despite I think he throws the ball really well, is his leadership. And I was with the defense most of the day, but when I came down, he's got a really good grasp of the huddle, and the team, and the way he gets them in and out. You know, spent a lot of hours last night here in case, you know, to make sure that he's ready. Takes it serious, and it's impressive. And you know, we'll see what happens through the rest of the week.
Are he and Phil similar enough, you know, physically, that Coach McNulty doesn't really have to redo the playbook to
Well, I think they have some similarities for sure. At the same time, I think there's some differences, and I think, you know, you got to try to find out what Emmett does really well and what he knows really well, and kind of try to stick there. Emmett's a really smart guy, though, and you know, I think you can put a little bit more on his plate, you know, after seeing him play, and but there's some differences for sure. But they you know, they both do some things pretty well.
Can you go back to Emmett's upbringing and his background, just how you guys discovered him in California?
Yeah.
And how he's come from then until now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that a lot since his recruitment. Obviously, we watched his tape. Emmett was a guy that hadn't played a lot of football. I believe he just started at quarterback his junior year in high school, and then his senior year was COVID. And then there was a quarterback trainer that he was working with that we had mutual relations with that kept sending us a lot of film of him working out. And I remember watching those films at home during COVID, and you just see this big guy slinging it, coming out of his hand, making all the throws, and it was really impressive. And we decided to offer him. And he committed fairly quickly, got to know him and his family. They were out in California at the time because he was not in school. And they're from Northern California, in the Bay Area. And got to know him and his family, great people, and just got to know him, really mature throughout the process. It's like we were talking to an older college guy already. But that was really the story. I remember watching his tape, but then really watching his workouts and saying, he's got the size, he's got the arm talent, he seems like a really great kid, smart kid. And we kind of took a run on him. And you know, I'm glad we did. And we'll see where it goes.
Just his long-term potential. I mean, considering how few games he's played, you got to be pretty encouraged. Big picture about what he can do.
Yeah, I am, and I want to make sure we don't get too far ahead of ourselves, obviously. And I sent him a text, and I'll share this with you. I sent him a text, I the night before the game or the morning of the game, and I said, hey, it's your first start. I believe in you. I love you. I said, we're not gonna judge off of this game. I said, whether you throw for 400 or they don't look very good, it's your first start. I believe in you. I'm not gonna judge you off this game. And he wrote me something back like, and he wouldn't mind if I shared. He wrote me back like, I really appreciate that, Coach. That means a lot, but we're gonna score a lot of points. So that kind of made me smile. You know what I mean? Because he's a confident kid too. So I don't want to get too far ahead. I don't think that's fair to him. I think that when you're young, whether you're a young team, an inexperienced team, or a young quarterback or an inexperienced quarterback, I truly believe that, it's going to go like this before you build and then go like that. And I just don't want to, whether he goes out, if he does play this week, whether he goes out and, throws for 400 or doesn't, I'm still going to feel the same way I do about him, and I'm going to feel the same way I do about his future. And I mean that, and that was only really the message I was trying to get across for him. But I liked his answer.
How's the O-line looking? Anybody coming back?
No one's back.
Same lineup as Duke, possibly?
Yes, which would be a great thing. We'd get
Okay.
the same lineup for 2 weeks in a row. There's a chance Jude comes back. I'm hoping that he'll be able to practice tomorrow. Nick will not be back yet. Hopefully we'll get him back at some point, but that's everyone else's. The 4 guys had surgery and they're not coming back.
Coach, first of all, sorry to wait.
That's okay. Thanks for
Second
coming.
of all, Sunday, you were talking about guys being motivated for different reasons.
Yeah.
To have a road trip this late in the year when things aren't going so well, is it a nice bonding opportunity this time of year just for those guys and for the younger guys too?
Well, we go, regardless of whether we're home and away, we go to a hotel.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a really good bonding time. You're in the hotel together. We eat all of our meals together. We watch games, play games, just talk. We have team meetings where sometimes I do the talking, sometimes the players do the talking, sometimes the other coaches do the talking. So I think all those Fridays are bonding times. And I always say to the team, you never want to take those for granted, because it's like the only time of the week where it's just us, right? It is. It's just us from the time we get to the hotel until the time we kick off, until the time we leave the stadium. It's just us together. And when it's all said and done, you're going to miss those moments and take advantage of them. I've been on some teams where on those nights you just meet, and then guys have their headphones in and look at their phones. And for me, when we get to that hotel, we're done. And there's some little meetings, but it's guys talking and playing games, enjoying their coaches, and just the fellowship. And I think that's really important as you build, especially the young guys we have.
And for the younger guys too, is it important to do things the right way these last 3 weeks to build on next year as well?
Yeah, and what's important is not just for the younger guys to do well, because right now, they did do well, right? I think we had 6 true freshmen play, or whatever number it was, and a lot of them played well. We're redshirt freshmen. What's most important is when Zay Flowers played like he did, and if you watch the film and watch him block in that game, you should pull some of those clips up of him play after play, running down the field, blocking through the whistle. What that says not only to everybody who's going to watch him as they get ready for the draft, but it sends a message to Joe Griffin and all of our younger players that things aren't going well, and while some guys who are projected to be first or second round picks would opt out and not play, Zay's playing harder than he's played all year. And that's what I kind of think someone asked me about, the team needing to be motivated. That motivates me. And I know things aren't going well, trust me, and I'm really disappointed and I need to do a better job. But when I see those guys playing as hard as they played, guys like Zay, who don't really need, and that motivates me, and I can't wait to continue to coach them and try to get them better.
One guy we haven't talked much about lately is Bryce Steele. Can you just reflect on his season, how he's coming along?
Yeah, Bryce has played a lot. I think he's had some really good moments. I think he's learning a lot. I think playing that position it's still new to him in some aspects. He's very active. He's very involved. He's had a lot of production. And I think he has a chance to be a really good player. He's really hard on himself, and he cares so much. And I could tell how much he cared after that game. And he's another guy I felt like I was texting with at 1:30 in the morning just because, he couldn't get it out of his mind. And when you have young leadership like that and young guys who care, it's going to work out for him. He's going to be a really good player.
Just talk about Donovan, too. I was just reading his notes. He's 10.5 TFLs, 6.5 sacks.
Yeah,
He's kind of done it quietly, but
Yeah,
He's pretty effective.
Donovan's kind of jumped out as one of the guys who I think from his, I mean, it's only his second year, and I think he's taken such a big jump from year one to year two. I think he's getting coached really well by Coach V. He's active. He's playing with great fundamentals and technique. He's not the biggest guy, but what he makes up for that is his attitude, his effort, his heart, how hard he plays and strains. And he's really this year, when you watch him bend and kind of like he's got that flexibility in his body to really get underneath people where his elbow is almost on the ground, and then he's coming back up through and he's getting through the gaps. He's gotten the ball out a bunch of times. But it has been quiet, and he has had a really good year. And I think Donovan's going to develop probably next year into a captain for us and one of the best players on our team. But he's done a really good job, and probably, you know, if we were winning more games, his name would probably be thrown around more in the ACC, truthfully. But when you're not, it usually gets pretty quiet. But he's a guy that does deserve a lot of credit and attention in the ACC.
Sorry if you already talked
That's
about
okay.
this, but when deciding between Emmett and Phil these last 3 weeks, or really this week, how hard is that balance between, you know, looking at Phil's future, but also knowing you got to see what you have in Emmett too?
Oh, it's not hard right now because Phil's hurt. So, I mean, that's why, and it's no disrespect to the questions. I think they're great questions, and if Phil were healthy and Emmett were healthy, then I think it's a question that with an answer, but Phil's hurt right now. So if Phil can't play, Emmett's going to be the quarterback. But just with your question in general, you know, we still have a good amount, not too many older guys like who are playing and being productive. And, you know, I told them, I mean, I'm not going to turn my back on them. Some of them have a chance. There's a small group of those guys who have a chance to play in the next level. I mean, my goal for the next 3 weeks for them is to get as much good tape and production for them so I can help change their lives and let them go to the league. I'm not going to turn my back on them. Now, I know what's ahead, and I know what I want to build on too, so I'm not saying that. I want to gain momentum going to the next year, and what you saw Friday night was a lot of those young guys doing that. But by no means am I just I'm not going to do that. You got guys that are on the verge of getting drafted. My job also is to help change lives, and I'm going to do that for them.